Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Dr. David Antonuccio, who is a PhD at the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine, is here for the whole show on all new Nevada Newsmakers.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're pleased to welcome to the program for the first time David Antonuccio, who is a doctor of the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine. When I say doctor, PhD, of course.
Yes.
And I want to get into this maybe in a different way, and then there are lots of areas to get into. But it seems to me that with the shortage of doctors and the whole medical system in this country, that we have gotten to a point where primary care doctors especially are just hanging on with both hands to keep up with the flow of patients. And if they can solve a problem by giving somebody a pill, then that is a good thing. It is a good thing for them. It is a good thing for the patient. But there are consequences to this.
Correct.
And it seems that there are certain categories of drugs for anxiety and other things that are similar that are just causing problems, because once you get on them, it's almost impossible to get off of them.
You're right.
So which path would you like, of all the different areas you're dealing with, what's the first one you'd like to address? Antidepressants, for example?
Probably antidepressants. That's where my major expertise is. I've done a lot of publishing in that area. Let me caution people at the outset that no matter what they hear here, they should not make any changes in their medications without consulting a prescriber.
But by the way, and I can say this on a personal basis,
Yes.
I had a doctor change one of these types of medicines on me, didn't tell me what the effects would be. I stopped taking the medication, took the secondary medication, and started having flu-like symptoms.
Yes.
Went to the pharmacist to get something to cure me of the flu-like symptoms. They said, "You didn't stop taking that medicine right away, did you?" "Oh, yeah." "Oh, you can't do that."
Right. It can be really a problem for people. As many as 80% experience what you described. The industry calls it discontinuation effects, but really they're withdrawal effects. And on top of that, I testified at the 2004 FDA hearings about the increased risk of suicidal thinking and behavior caused by these medications. Now, it's a small percentage of people who experience that problem, but it was significant enough that the FDA ended up putting black box warnings on the medicines for that increased risk.
All right, so what is the question, let alone what is the answer? Because if people are having problems that require this kind of medication, what should be the questions as a patient you're asking in terms of how long do I take this? Is this dosage appropriate for short-term, medium-term, long-term? I mean, for example, I'm terrified of opioids just because of everything we've read about. And so if I'm in a situation where I have to take one because of a surgery or something like that, I want to get those out of the house as quickly as possible.
I'm with you, same place.
But the average member of the public doesn't think like that. They just trust their doctors. Oh, I've got a thing of 30 pills. I'm taking the pills. And then suddenly, at the end of that dosage, they're in trouble.
You're right. And specifically focusing on the antidepressants, the average study, a lot of people don't know this, is only 6 weeks on antidepressants of the studies that are submitted to the FDA. The other thing they don't know is it only takes 2 positive studies for the FDA to prove a medication as an antidepressant. So a lot of these medications have not been tested over the longer term in terms of risk versus benefit. So it is something that I would ask my doctor, if you're asking what questions to ask, how long do I need to take it? Is it likely to be effective? What are the risks and side effects? And it should be part of the informed consent process. But also, I would also ask my doctor, what are the alternatives to medications that have been shown to be effective? And this is where my research has delved in the last 40 years, the comparative effects of non-drug treatments versus drug treatments. And the alternative options are very effective, and in fact, just as effective as the medications, even for severe depression, even over the long term, and especially if these treatments are evaluated after 6 months. There's more enduring benefit associated with the psychological treatments.
Okay, so what would be those treatments that are non-medical?
Fair question. The ones that have been most stringently tested are cognitive therapy, behavior therapy, or what they're calling behavioral activation, interpersonal therapy.
Okay. Before you go any cognitive therapy. So that to me says something to do with your brain, and associating with what?
Okay. The approach with cognitive therapy is that it's not just what happens to you that causes you to be depressed, but what you tell yourself about what happens has a profound role. There are 3, at least, there's many more, but common what we call cognitive distortions that can contribute to the suffering a person experiences. One is perfectionism, very, very common. In fact, perfectionism often associated with suicidal thinking. These are thoughts like, I should have done better on that last exam, or I must get an A in this class. These are more trivial examples, but you can expand to other experiences people have. And those kinds of thoughts are toxic. And so helping people challenge that thinking with more with softer language, like, I would like to have gotten an A, but you know, the B is okay. And just as one example, or another example would be catastrophizing. I can't live without this relationship that I was in because it ended, treating it as if it were like food or oxygen. And when you have a thought like that, it's devastating. And to challenge that and say, wait, no, I've had experiences before where I have gotten through it despite the loss, and you know, I'll join a support group and come up with other strategies. So those are some of the common cognitive distortions that can be addressed through therapy.
All right, and then the second one that you brought up.
Behavioral activation.
Yes.
This involves increasing your pleasant activities. Now, when you're depressed, that might seem like that's a pretty tough ask, right, to do more fun things. But we did some research at Oregon when I was a graduate student over 40 years ago that showed it's profoundly effective. Picking things that you enjoy to do and doing them, even if you have to modify them a little bit because of your depression to reduce the intensity or so forth. It might be going to a movie, let's say, and if you feel too depressed to go to a movie, then watch one on your laptop computer or something, or listening to music, or gardening, or going for a walk. Matter of fact, specifically on exercise, there's a recent study out from the British Journal of Sports Psychology, like last week, where they looked at like over 60 studies comparing exercise to medications for depression. And this is often major depression. And they found it to be just as effective in the short run, and again, to have more enduring benefit without the risks and side effects. So exercise itself can be a very powerful intervention for depression.
Even minimal exercise.
Yes.
Going for a walk around the block.
Yes.
I became a gym rat about 14 years ago, and I had never done any exercise in my life before, and found over this last 14 years that even on the days when I don't really want to do it, I don't feel like doing it, but I force myself to do it, the satisfaction level afterward is huge.
Absolutely right. So, for example, for someone who's depressed, they may not feel like going to the gym. They may not even feel like walking around the block. It might be walking around the house, until they can get the energy to go beyond that. And you start where people are at and then gradually increase it. And you're right, it doesn't have to be a full-blown workout where you're going to the gym for an hour and a half or something. It can be 20 minutes walking as a start.
I remember during 9/11, which now, you have to say to young people, look it up and read about it. I was working at a TV station, and the front desk receptionist, there's always a TV at the front desk at a TV station. And she said to me one day, she said, I can't stop watching the Twin Towers coming down. I watch it all day here at the station, and then I go home and I watch it all night. I've got a news IV. And I said to her, you have to stop watching this. I said, as terrible as it was, the towers only came down once. You have now seen them come down thousands of times. When you go home, watch a comedy, watch a cowboy show, watch anything but news. It's what you're talking about.
Right, to try to find some balance in life. I mean, there are tough things that happen to people, and it's trying to inject a balance of pleasant activities, positive thoughts. It's not ignoring the bad things that happen, but it's also finding the beauty that exists in the world as well.
Right, but I mean, I guess my point is that we are exposed to multiple occurrences of something that only happened once.
That's a good point.
And there was a 60 Minutes piece last weekend on the survivors, the last 3 people who are in their 80s now that were babies at Auschwitz. I remember as a child seeing a photograph of the dead bodies piled up in the graves. And as a young Jew, I was just so shocked, and I never wanted to see that picture again. And now, 60 odd years later, I saw that picture again, and it was just as shocking to me. I've only seen it twice in my life, and it had that effect on me. I can't imagine if you saw something similar that affected you in that same way, that you saw it over and over again.
Right. You're talking about a toxic exposure to the same negative event over and over and over again. Like you said, an IV of just negativity. You're trying to find a balance because you don't want to avoid difficult things completely either. So it's finding some kind of middle ground. I agree with you. It could be overdone. And especially in today's world, the social media, the toxicities of being exposed over and over. In fact, the algorithms will expose you to the things that make you angry or scare you the most if you allow that to happen. And that is not a good way to live.
All right, let's take another break and we'll be right back.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
The new year is bringing new ways to win big during the $175,000 Winter Wonderland giveaways at Tamarack Casino. Win up to $5,000 in cash every week and a top prize of $20,000 in cash during the grand finale drawing. Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with PhD Dr. David Antonuccio. Let's talk about pregnant women facing a tough call on antidepressants. It isn't uncommon that depression and anxiety occur during pregnancy.
True.
That wouldn't have been something that would have come to mind. But what are the positives and negatives in terms of treatment for this?
Well, again,
and the approach.
Okay, the approach. Again, people do have choices. A lot of times they feel like they don't have choices. That's one of the issues that I have with how depression is addressed generally in our culture. A lot of people think, well, you have to take a pill if you're severely depressed or really depressed. And I'm telling you, having reviewed hundreds of studies on the comparative effects of psychological versus drug treatments, there are choices. And for pregnant women, there are choices other than medications that include some of the ones we were talking about, like increasing pleasant activities, engaging in more social activities and looking for social support, changing cognitive distortions and that kind of thing can also be effective with pregnant women. And of course, the thing many doctors are concerned about is the potential risk to the fetus of taking a medication like an antidepressant. And there's some controversy about how much risk there is, but there are quite a few doctors who think it might be a real risk.
Well, I mean, the fact that we tell pregnant women not to drink and take drugs, recreational drugs, one would think that antidepressants would also have a similar effect of going directly to the baby and affecting the baby.
Right, and again, I'm not an expert on the risks in pregnancy, but there are doctors like Dr. David Healy and some other folks who think that there's risk to the baby. Think about the most common side effects of antidepressants are agitation, sleep disruption, sexual dysfunction, and gastrointestinal problems. Those are the four most common. Most people experience some variation of those symptoms. And actually, one of the ones that is appreciated, I think, is the impact on sexual functioning. A lot of people don't expect that by taking an antidepressant that their sex lives are going to be negatively affected. And this doesn't just apply to pregnant women, but it reminds me that it applies to everybody. But there was a study done in Spain a few years ago, led by a researcher named Montejo, and they found that 60% of patients who take antidepressants say it has affected their sex lives in some negative way, including with arousal or performance or whatever, and sex drive. And that's a big number. And unfortunately, for some people, that persists even after they stop the medicine, which is really upsetting. So this is a reason for, again, to be cautious and consider alternatives when making your choice about what intervention to use with it.
Okay, so one of the biggest problems, I think, that people have with going to see their doctors, and this is not the doctor's fault, is that 5 minutes after you leave the doctor's office, you have no idea what the heck they told you. And I think it's so important that when you go to see a doctor for something serious, that you take somebody with you to take notes so that you actually know what the heck was discussed. Am I not wrong?
Well, it's probably impractical for people to take someone with them every time, but taking notes, brilliant idea, great idea, or ask the doctor for a handout, a summary, and a lot of times they'll create a summary for the records anyway to print it out for you. But I love the idea of taking notes because you want to be able to retain what the doctor has told you, especially if it's advice that you feel is worth taking.
All right, so I had a heart attack back in '94, and as part of the cardiac rehab, one of the sessions was with a pharmacist. And they said, talk to your pharmacist about your medications and the interaction of the medications to make sure that what you're taking is appropriate for you. You go to a pharmacy these days, they are so busy, they don't have time. They have time to tell you about the medication they're handing you, but how do you get that kind of resource to know what it is you're taking? Because these are, you know, you've spent, what, 40 years studying this? The average person has spent 20 minutes in their doctor's office, 10 minutes of which was waiting for the doctor to come in.
Right. There are resources, of course. Back before the internet was popular, there was a book called The Pill Book, which told you about every pill that was available and both the risks and benefits and so forth and dosage levels and so forth. So you could consult an authoritative resource about them. In fact, I would recommend it. Most people don't read the warnings. You get the paperwork with your pills. I mean, I know I'm the same way, and I often just toss them. But before I take any new medication, I do my own research to find out what are the benefits, what are the risks, what are the potential side effects, what to be looking out for, and so I can be prepared if I notice something.
All right, let's take another break and we'll be right back.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
You're in trouble with the law. It's easy to think you'll lose everything, but there is hope. I'm Attorney Orrin Johnson. Your first step is to hire a serious attorney with the experience to successfully navigate the legal system for you.
Sometimes hope means addiction treatment instead of jail, and making sure you're treated fairly.
Sometimes hope means fearless trial attorneys will stand up to the government when they get it wrong. Call or text Orrin Johnson Law.
We'll make a plan.
You'll take back your life.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Points are flying out the door during the Point Party Palooza giveaways going on now at the Carson Valley Inn. Up to 1 million points given away each drawing night, and over 1 million in points guaranteed during the grand prize point explosion. Get in on the action at the Carson Valley Inn.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Dr. David Antonuccio. He is a PhD at the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine. So here's the biggest question, which is, if you're on medication for depression, how do you stop? What are the steps you take?
It can be challenging. There are
and dangerous.
And dangerous. especially if you do it too quickly. There's something called the Maudsley Deprescribing Guidelines that were written by a psychiatrist by the name of Dr. Mark Horowitz. And that can be a guide. I would advise patients to educate themselves about these guidelines and then maybe take them to their doctor and explain that they would like to try to do this. Every patient has a right to come off medicines. It's their choice, and they have a right to ask their doctor for help in doing this. There are really only a couple of professional clinics that I know of. One is called Outro Clinic, O-U-T-R-O. This was established by Dr. Horowitz. It's in like 12 or 14 states right now across the country.
Is it in Nevada?
Not yet, but it probably will be soon. Another one is called Taper Clinic. That's in San Diego, very expensive. And that's a problem. There are peer support groups, but you can get bad information along with good information too. So of all the options out there, the Outro Clinic to me looks like one of the best resources, and the Maudsley Deprescribing Guidelines will help educate people about the process. And it should be a very slow taper if they do choose to do it with consultation with a prescriber.
And the worst place in the world to get the information would be going online?
It's not the worst place, but you don't want to rely on it. You don't want to, because you can get a lot of wrong information.
And that's where we have to leave it. Fascinating topic, and one that sadly so many of our listeners and viewers are dealing with. Dr. David Antonuccio, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be right back.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the heat back on today. Call us today and we'll fix it today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why freeze for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your furnace fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Check out our archives section on NevadaNewsmakers.com. Great interviews going back as far as 2002. Really worth watching. We'll see you on the next podcast.